Hi, welcome to the garden in August. It's a little windy today, and we've had a lot of grasshoppers. We have so many grasshoppers, they've eaten everything. So we have skeleton plants and grasshoppers. So this is the horseradish. See how it's down to ribs? We'll start with the peppers. These are cherry bell peppers. They're fantastic for pickling. They're starting to ripen right now. And these are the pepperoncinis. And I've picked a lot of them and pickled them. And now these are, I'm just waiting for these to get a little bit bigger. These are an experimental one that we tried from the seed that we saved, and these are habanados. Right now they don't have any heat in them. I don't know what will happen when they start turning red. That's the experiment. I don't know if we're going to like them or not. Here is our fabulous paprikas. And we pick some. We pick them when they are just starting to turn red. So tomorrow I'll pick this one and let them finish ripening in the house before I dry them in the dehydrator and grind them in the spice grinder to make our own paprika. Several plants of those. And these are the Tabascos and the pimentos. Do the same thing with the pimentos. I pick them when they're green and let them ripen in the house so that the grasshoppers don't get them too bad. Jalapenos are doing really well, and our bell peppers keep getting eaten, but they are getting pretty big. Stay with the bell peppers. Okay, and the Anaheims. Some more bell peppers on this side. We have a lot of bell peppers. We use a lot of bell peppers. They go in the salsa, in the spaghetti sauce, in stir fries. We use a lot. The cabbage. I planted them too close again. Their leaves are getting eaten, and so I pulled a couple of them to see if I could get some more to grow bigger, but I think I'm just gonna go ahead and pick all of them at this point. And the purple cabbage as well. And the kale pretty much is no more. And the banana peppers are banana-ing very well. Alright, we will go around to the rest of the vegetable garden. Alright, here's the rest of the garden. So I had this idea. I had these volunteer sunflowers coming up, and they were so pretty, I thought I would just let them come up in the peas and the potatoes. But they took over the peas and potatoes. So there really are potatoes under here where you see the dead tops. They're not growing anymore. They are just staying in the ground. They will be okay until I start digging potatoes. But that is now. As I'm ready to use them, I come out and dig what I need for potatoes, and I will get the rest out of here. But they also covered up the fact that I had a potato beetle infestation going on. I don't know if you can see those or not. They're little teeny tiny buggers. So every day I come out with the chicken bucket and pick them off and carry them in and give them to the chickens who eat them. But I have to do it every day. But it's better than losing the potatoes. the most that would happen is they will eat the leaves, and then the potatoes that are there will stop growing, just like these here have stopped growing. So it's not the end of the world, but it's also not good. So we'll take care of those. I put gloves on because I do not like how they feel. So touching bugs is not my thing. Here's the onions. And as you can see, the tops of the onions, oh, sorry, I lied. This is where the peas were. Here is the onions. The tops have all died back, so that means it is time to harvest the onions, which pretty much amounts to pick them up, because they're all resting on the top of the ground right now. So I'll have another video that shows you what I do with those to make sure that we want this papery skin to stay on here. We want them to harden off a little bit so that they will preserve through until we use them all without growing again. So I will show you that. Here's the rest of the Swiss chard. Not very much left. We've had 100-degree days almost every single day since the beginning of July. So a lot of things, just between the grasshoppers and the heat, they just don't make it. But that's why we plant many things in our garden, because some things, like the tomatoes, absolutely love the heat. So it works. So the rest of the beets I will harvest this week, and they will be borscht and go into the freezer, or whatever we don't eat as borscht this week. And then here's the carrots, and they are growing so very nicely that I have harvested some to put in the pickle jars and to eat. They taste best, the carrots do, if they wait until after a frost has hit them. So I wait for the first frost before I harvest the carrots. And the tomatoes are tomatoing like crazy. However, you will see that grasshoppers eat tomatoes. See if I can get you to see that. So that part of the tomato, it won't be good, but I'll just cut it off. We have to share bites with the grasshoppers because there's no other way to get rid of the grasshoppers. They just are. So beyond the tomatoes, the green beans, and as you can see, the green beans are covered in grasshoppers. So for the most part, the green beans are stems. But the stems, we're not giving up on the plants because the stems still have blossoms on them. And as the cooler temperatures come along, the grasshoppers won't be as active, but the green beans will. So whatever survives, these did not survive being eaten down to nothing. But there's some underneath here that will. Then the pumpkins are growing in the corn. This is the second batch of corn. So plant corn, then 2 weeks later you plant another row of corn, and 2 weeks later you plant another row of corn, and then you have a continuous supply of corn rather than it all coming at once. So both has advantages, because if it all comes at once, then you pick all the corn, you eat what you want, you freeze what you want, and then you're done with the corn. If you want corn every day until you don't have corn anymore, and you love corn fresh more than anything, then this is a good way to do it. So some years we do it one way, and some years we do it another way. So back here are the cucumbers. And the cucumbers we plant on the sheep fence. And the pumpkins climb in there. So these are pumpkin vines as well. These great big huge leaves are pumpkins. And the smaller leaves are the cucumbers. And these are the Armenian cucumbers. And then on this end, amongst the pumpkins, there are the pickling cucumbers. I was going to see if I could find you one really quick here so I could show you what it was doing. Oh my goodness. Bees. Here we go. So they'll be a little bit bigger than this when I pick them, but they're only like about this big when I pick them. The bees are having a really good time in the tops of the corn. These are the wild plums, the sugar plums that we've been watching. And they're starting to turn, but they have a while yet. And they will get juiced and become jelly. And there's a lot of them. These are plums all the way along. Okay, on the other side of the corn. There's some gourds. And I had a gourd in here I kept tripping over. A birdhouse gourd right here. And then this is the winter squash and the pumpkins. I'm not sure that I like the planting the pumpkins and the squash in the corn. It makes the corn hard to harvest, but it does save space. So I think what I need to do is just clear out this area here so that I can have a pumpkin patch. So I would plant where the chickens have already fertilized and let them just grow this direction. They vine a lot. Some of these plants that you see clear out there have their beginnings clear over in here. They can grow like 20 to 30 feet for a vine. So it's not a bad idea. At the other end of here is the zucchini, and it is also doing really well. So this is a very busy time of year. Everything gets picked every day to try and keep the grasshoppers out of it, so that we get our share. All right, that is the garden in August. Thank you for joining me. Have a really great week.